Okay. So basically, what I'm doing a PhD there with Professor Ursprung, Philip Ursprung.
I don't know. I just named Akos Morabanski. I just know these two or three persons.
Yeah, I'm part of the GTA, which is the history and theory of architecture, and Akos Morabanski is one of the professors as well.
Well.
And José Luis Mateo is also a professor.
So much, yeah.
Yes. And doing my PhD on the theme of terrain vague, in relation to Ignacio de Sola Morales and in relation to the text of Sola Morales within the 90s.
Yes.
So I started from an interest in interstitial space, which is another topic, more or less.
Yes.
And it was an interdisciplinary interest on that topic. And it moved slowly into being more about terrain vague and a focus on the text as if it were a building. So I'm describing the text really in detail of Ignacy and trying to put it in context. So that's what now I'm trying to do here in Barcelona.
Okay, this text was, I think you referred to Present and Future of Architecture. It was published, I think, in 1995.
It was published in Any Place, and then the text called Terrain Vague, and the text Present and Future of Ignacy somehow refers to the same topic. Merry Christmas, by the way.
Normally, Catalonia yesterday was holidays. The people eat a lot. You think?
Yes.
I think it was the first idea of terrain vague. Well, I think it's a little bit extends this idea, but I think it was this was the publication for a congress. The congress was yes, and also was for some exhibition at the CCCB Foundation. Okay, it was a little strange, but the first time who Ignacy. This book is in Catalan. I think it's a problem for you.
Yes, no, I understand.
It's easy to read. No?
I can read, yes.
Okay. It was the first time who explained the idea of the 7 or 6 categories for a thing, the idea of architecture.
Yes.
For me, I think Ignacy was a polyphacetical teacher for me. He was just a philosopher, the architect for the theoretical. Mm-hmm. It's a little complex to define just in one specialization.
Category.
Yes. And also I was involved with him through one master program. The name was Metropolis. Yes, it was the first year. It was academic secretary for the first year until the 5th year. I was there working, and then I was connected with this master like actually as a professor. But I think this was just a kind of experimentation. This master was experimentation who in the university he cannot, it was so difficult to produce this experimentation at the university because this master was the idea of not a specialization, the contrary of a specialization, a sort of globalization, or kind of sociologist, poets, mathematics, physics was trying to produce some new ideas, just for rethinking the old concept. For me, this concept of terrain vague was also there. Mutations, flux, habitation was kind of global housing.
Was it related to Metropolis? Or was it the same timing?
Yes, it was related sometimes, yes. Okay. It was, in this moment I was assistant professor of Ignacy, and also there were Xavier Costa. Do you speak with them?
He's my
Tutor.
co-supervisor.
Okay, I think it's good because
I will meet him today actually.
In this moment, they was working together in this organizing this master. This master was starting at 1993, and this publication is 1995. The same period of organizing this idea. In my case, I have some perhaps protections through in a practical development of the professional architecture. For me was I think it's not only need to write a lot of theoretical, also Ignasi trying to practice architecture like it was the Ernest. It's difficult only to write books. It's interesting to write and practice architecture.
Yes.
I think these two ambivalence was very difficult to develop. It's easy to show, it's to see or to tell. Yes, you have to, but it's so difficult to organize. Yes, it's difficult. But for my case, our case, was interesting because we tried to put in practice all these concepts of Terreinweg in some projects. For me, was extremely hard for us work in a project because Ignasi dies in this period. I tried to organize all the spaces in memoriam of Ignasi Solomon. So it was a forum project. It was that bridge, pedestrian bridge. It was in Barcelona. One of these organizations was through a text. This text was in reference to Ignasi. It's a little strange, but for us it's interesting to do that. Okay.
So you used his. So you used the ideas in practice.
Yes. The ideas for me, it's a little before because Ignasi for me was not only a teacher, was for me was a friend, and also the idea for me it's completely diverged when in 1983. 83 years, we translate to English to Spanish Angelus Novus. It was a text of Walter Benjamin.
Yes.
In this period, for me, it's when Ignasi started to develop this.
It was in 83.
Yes, I think 83. Okay. I think so.
Okay.
83 or 73. In this moment, I have some lapses.
I think 83 because 73 would be very early.
Yes.
In the timing
but,
of
Ignasi
Morales.
was very because he was also studying as a philosopher, and one of his works during the philosopher period of I think was trying to organize some theories around Walter Benjamin. For me, this period for me it's a very interesting period. It's a hard point because in this period, for one side, of the official critical of architecture was through Heidegger, through think or construir, pensar, habitar, is build, think and construct. It was the text of Heidegger. It was published in 1956, I think, and all the critical was organizing through this strong basis of. And Ignasi tried to organize the critical of architecture through this other side, Walter Benjamin.
Do you know which text of Walter Benjamin was translated? Which one did you translate?
Angelus Novus. It was in Latin. Angelus Novus.
Okay.
For me, in this text, mark extremely these two ways. For one side, it's rational. Perhaps Heidegger have this idea of the city is not important because after the Second World War, all the people was outside of the huge cities, almost in Europe and almost in Germany. The people go to little towns, not out because also Berlin was completely crowded. Surrounded for some forces, and the idea in Germany was to keep little towns. The big city is not interesting for life; it's just for some trained persons.
Okay.
And Ignasi tried to keep the magnificence and the miseries of a huge town. He was working in Berlin pre Second World War, and some qualities of cognition, some symbolism, some kind of also in Paris. Walter Benjamin was interesting in the passage of Paris, trying to keep again some splendor in the huge cities. For me, this is a text important for the development of these categories. And also, I'm not a philosopher, just I'm an architect. Just I finished 2 years ago my PhD thesis, but I try to put in practice these ideas of symbolic organizations, not only through Ignasi Solà Morales, also Ignasi and another philosopher. For me, it's very interesting or important. It was also friend of Ignasi Solà Morales. The name is Eugenio Tríguez.
Sorry?
Both Eugenio Tríguez. It's a philosopher who was also in the same university.
Is it written E-U-G-E?
Eugenio Tríguez.
Tríguez?
Without G.
Tríguez.
Okay. Both was friends, was teaching in the same university at the School of Architecture in Barcelona. During a period of time, our school was 3 or 4 philosophers, very huge reputation, and both, I think, was trying to organize the department of aesthetic and composition of school.
Yes.
For me, these two persons was in between. I moved very well in between both. Okay.
What is your PhD about?
Text and tectonics.
Okay. Text and tectonics.
Yes. Some of these concepts I was thinking in this thesis, but my idea was trying to organize the tectonic of the text.
No, take a look at it afterwards.
Okay. For me, you could show at there are a link to connect.
Okay.
It's easy to obtain because nowadays all the theses are published in I don't know the name. TEDx.
In which?
Catalan and French.
Okay. Yeah. I speak French very well.
I don't know speak French. The idea was to compare one text of Le Corbusier with another text of Le Corbusier and trying to keep some concepts, modern concepts for me, like that. Okay.
Okay.
Also, Tríguez have an idea of organization, the philosophy in 7 categories also, and Ignasi also has these concepts. Only terrain back for me only it's one. It's important for in this moment. I think this concept are increasing its importance in itself because I think it's
you mean now?
It's increasing.
Yes.
Terrain back for me.
Yes.
Also for me it's important because I try to make bigger this concept through perhaps in English the word is wasteland.
Wasteland. Yes.
For me it was interesting because this idea of waste perhaps connected some. It's easy to connect this concept with another concepts or another disciplines of art. Through the terrain back you could connect with music very easy, or literature, or some
photography and cinema.
It's easy to connect. For me it's important because also wasteland. I talked before. We was connect with a poem of T.S. Eliot. It was Wasteland, and I don't know the name. this poem, but this poem was the first material to work in this pedestrian bridge you saw in these models. We tried to connect Ignasi with this text and the category in that project. It was a little huge for me. And
I have a problem with the wasteland idea, because the notion of waste carries negativity that Ignasi was trying to avoid.
Yes, but I don't know the name in English is gastado. And gastado, it's like a cloth we use one time. This cloth is waste for some people. The idea of waste it's also important for the reurbanization of the cities. Nowadays there are a concept of don't produce waste, also don't produce trashes. And this idea, don't produce spaces without qualifications.
Yes.
This idea of negative of photocopy of the metropolis, idea of waste or terrain back, for me it's important, because it's just the detritus of the metropolis.
Yes.
This idea to try to organize these spaces through the memory, through the okay, I invented some concept. I think this idea, organize it through the other concept. I think it's a strong idea for me. And also the future, it's not idea. And I am still using this idea through these ideas of eco-urban use, ecologicals. Okay? For me, it's this double or triple, like a lot of layers.
Stratus.
Yes, stratus also. We can organize this idea of terrain back like origin, but it's very dense. It's very important. Perhaps in a metropolis, the wasteland or the terrain backs, perhaps is the 50% of the territory or more. It's not a little part like perhaps idea of containers. It's like a building. It's very clear. It's a building. It's a very
trying to enclose.
Yes. It's containers. Containers.
Yes.
This is just a very small idea. Perhaps for architecture, it's a container. It's a building, right? But I think philosophical, it's not important. What's contain?
Yes.
The city contains
it's
the containers.
Simple.
It's so simple. For me, this is not a concept. Also, through this philosopher, Eugenio Trias, also they keep perhaps the idea of to organize all these concepts. For me, was important. I don't know if I have this.
You mean the 7 categories?
Yes. The Ignasi have the categories of Ignasi was first of all
the ones in this
mutations.
Yes.
The second category was fluxus, or roads, or anything else.
Fluxus, habitación.
Habitations in Spain is like
Habitat.
not habitat. It was all kind of rooms. Houses, hotels, residences, it's a concept for globalize all this. The containers
and
terrain back, okay, was 5. Okay? But in this case, in a thesis I was comparing the graphical these categories of Le Corbusier. Was 6 or 7, depends on the period, and also I was comparing the concept of these philosophers, 7. Okay, for me it's important the philosophers how they organize the concepts through a mathematical matrix. One side it's organizing like a melody, organizing with one tempo, and the other synchrony and diachronia. Okay, this is all together, or like you can use this matrix like organizing. You could choose this period with that logos, that concept, organize all together or one each other. for me, this idea of organizing, for me it's important because this matrix keeps sense in this organization of Le Corbusier.
Yes.
Okay.
And you try now to experiment with these ideas in your work?
Yes, but it's difficult to experiment in architecture because it's difficult. Okay, it's difficult.
Yes.
But Joshua was organizing our just in kind of, it's not the thesis, it was an appendix of the thesis. There are the list of words, the name of the poem. We tried to organize this project, like this constructor project. It was.
Are these projects you're doing in your office?
Yes. Yes. Okay. The name of the poet and organizing more or less some kind of relevant situations. Okay.
Is this the bridge, the last one? No.
Project.
T.S. Eliot.
Project
the
Bridge.
Center
Civic. It was civic center. Okay. In text, it was. Jardin Fans was Kindergarten, One Square, Football Club Barcelona Project, Exhibition, Paseo La Forum was on Bridge. Okay. This construct
was
project.
Anyone related to Terrain Vague?
Yes, for me, Paseo La Forum was a Terrain Vague because this area it was the awful part of Barcelona. In this place. Forum was a place, normally the dictatorship Franco was killing the adversaries in this area. It was a place outside of the Barcelona because there are a system of railway. It was outside this area. In this place, it was not accessible. There was some gypsies. Favelas, I think.
Yes.
After construction houses. In this place was the area. It was a hole in the mind of all Catalans because in this place was killing until 1968 was killing some shooting and it was in this place of Forum for us was the perfect representation of Terrain Vague.
Yes.
Okay.
It sounds like perfect.
Yes, it was difficult to understand for the rest of the critical and theoretical professor. It was strange. This concept, right? For in this moment was a little difficult to. Nowadays, I think it's accepted for all together. It was it's a well done,
well established notion.
Yes. It was difficult to convince the rest of the.
What happened to that space?
The topic of this place.
I mean the Forum area.
The Forum area.
How did it develop?
The Forum. We try to run through this poem. This poem of T.S. Eliot. It's it's easy to find this book. If I change
the library.
Yes, I completely.
Yes. Do you recommend books that I should read in relation to Terrain Vague? Anything that comes to mind?
This Wasteland, well in Spanish, Tierra Baldía, in Catalan was Terra Gastada, so it is more. Baldías in Spanish, but I think you read in English.
I understand Spanish and Catalan when I read that. It's okay.
I think the English version.
In Catalan, okay.
Terra gastada. Gastada is waste. Terra gastada. Gastada. Ta. Okay. Terra gastada. Okay. In this poem, the idea was one man is dead and find another man. It's a little way to understand, but for us it was interesting because also it was the presence of his friend who was dead, Ignacy, in this place, who was a place of a lot of men dies for the democracy. Okay, it was also a place for, and there are some organizations. Okay. Royal City, una multitud walking in a London Bridge, and it's more or less this kind of atmosphere we try to to make like a recreation.
Yes.
Also, there are idea of the war. The idea of rebirth again.
Rebirth.
Yes. Yeah. The idea of one teacher dies, the fellows try to give green ideas in another tree.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, this point for us was enough to.
See that area?
Yes.
It's nice.
It was this idea. Okay. For us it's difficult because you can't have an idea, try to produce the project, try to organize the construction period,
yes.
and only perhaps one change in the development of the work is completely crash this because it's very delicate to organize these
yes.
works.
Yes.
Just one decision in the period
the
of
process.
Yes, it's block complete
yes.
this process. Well, we try to organize our architecture through also another poet, another sometimes one picture or one photography was enough, but we are organizing basically our works through these concepts. I don't know if it's not so.
Interdisciplinary.
I think it's a fast drawing. We are organizing this. But I think it's something useful. It's not just a theory. I think the idea of try to put this theory at reality, I think it's difficult.
Do you think other groups are doing the same?
I don't know. I think no. I think no. Normally when I explain this process, people,
okay.
Crazy. Okay, for me it's crazy.
Okay.
I think it's
but
important.
the text, for example, like the text Terrain Vague, do you think it gave a resonance in the work?
I think in other fields, very common, perhaps in a singer, it's very helpful to keep some poems or many else and try to put voice and song. It's easy. Oh, it's fantastic. Perhaps in music, in picture also.
Yeah.
Some people try to paint like harmonical. I don't know. In architecture, it's not usual. I don't know why. I think the architects have a problem to.
Because it's between art and architect. It's between art and science.
Yes, I think this concept, for one side, technologic. One side, sometimes it's well, sometimes it's very bad for the development of architecture.
Yeah.
But I just working the same process of Ignacy, try to practice and try to develop some strategies of theory.
Yes.
I think it's important keep both. It's not useful only. Yes, it's useful, of course, produce some like Mustafavi. I think it's important.
Yes.
It's also important produce and try to. I think in ETH we were very clear in this field.
Yes.
Try to produce some theoreticals, I'll try to construct them. But I think in ETH, I think it's mark. I don't know. Perhaps no, because Akos Morawansky is also so symbolic. Yes, it's not Heideggerian rule. No, it's a construct thing. No.
Aldo GTA is very prolific in ideas.
Yes, but I have we just put we have a little publication in ETH when my wife and just put a little chronicle about these concepts of text, poem, text, and publication. Domingo, I think I have one little book. No, sorry.
Sorry.
Yes, it was published few.
Okay.
Okay, I think it's very popular, this collection. Yeah,
Yes.
a lot of. Okay.
Yes, yes.
I'm in Domingo.
Uh-huh.
Domingo Ferrer.